today I wanted to talk about something that's a little bit more personal. It has to do with business, but it's not like a 3 ways to do this or like a technical guide to like do anything in your business. I wanted to talk a lot about kind of entrepreneurial mindset and give you some insight into my journey and talk about something that I've kind of been struggling with or struggling through, I guess I should say. And I think it's going to resonate with a lot of entrepreneurs, especially service-based entrepreneurs. So I definitely would consider myself an accidental entrepreneur. That's someone who never set out to start a business. It kind of just happened to them. I know for me, a lot of people ask me, like, how did you get started? And it happened because I was on blogger.com. I think I started my blog in 2010 or 2011, so almost 10 years ago. And I started a kind of a lifestyle blog. I talked about literally whatever. And I was constantly updating the design of it. Now, also at that time, I was an emotional wreck because I was like kind of an angsty teenager. At that point, I think I might have been in my 20s already. Well, I guess 2011, what's math? Maybe I was 23. And so, but the angst had carried into my 20s, I guess. And I remember vividly during that time, like stopping my car. I was driving. I pulled over because I just was so emotional. I was crying. I called my dad and I said, I have no idea what I'm going to do with my life. And it was funny because he said, the job probably doesn't even exist. Whatever you're going to be doing, it probably doesn't even exist yet. And he was kind of pulling from his background. He went to school for agricultural science. He got that degree because I think his mom basically made him go to school, and it was his junior year, and he looked at all of his classes and he said, what kind of degree can I get with all of these classes? So he got a degree in agricultural science and then ended up working in IT. He, as soon as he finished his degree, he took some night classes on computer programming and then ultimately started a career in computer tech and like IT database management. And so he was kind of thinking, like, that's what happened to me. It's probably what's going to happen to you too. And at the time, it wasn't very helpful because I still didn't have any answers. But from there, I feel like, and even until recently, like almost 10 years later, I feel like I've just been like wondering, not aimlessly, here's the thing, effort produces clarity. And that's what's so important about being a business owner is I have woken up every day and I've tried. I haven't been good at a lot of things, but I've learned to get better. I have an intense craving for learning and education. So I've woken up every day and I've tried to get better and I've tried to learn more. I've tried to be better than I was the day before and I've tried to know more than I did the day before. That has allowed me to reframe failures and setbacks as learning opportunities and growth opportunities. It's why you should crave those things in your business, because you don't learn from just killing it day in and day out. You don't learn from getting everything right. When you get everything right, that's lucky, especially if you don't have lessons back from your past backing up that luck. That's why you see me experimenting so much. That's why you see me just doing things, because I want to learn and I want that information so I can figure out how to move forward. So that was a little off track, but since that day, back in, we'll call it 2011, I have just been moving aimlessly forward for a lot of it. At that time, we're going to bring this back full circle. At that time, I had started a lifestyle blog on blogger.com and I was constantly updating the design of it. I was creating graphics for my blog posts. I was creating, at that time, you could get like sponsorships from other blogs and have ads for them on the side of your blog posts. And at that time, double sidebars were really, really popular. So and think about it, whenever you have a blog versus a website, you basically have your one homepage, and then there aren't a lot of like links to click around through, at least back then. So you had all of that information in your sidebars, and so you would have ads from your sponsors. You might do like joint posts to highlight them, whatever. I was like constantly updating and designing for my blog, and I eventually had people in my blogging community reach out and want me to design their blogs, and that's how I got started. I think I was charging $50 a design, barely making any money, and I mean, honestly, even up until last year, barely making any money compared to what I was putting into my business. So that's kind of how I got my start back in 2011. I think maybe by 2012, that might have been when I got my first clients. I can't really remember. But, you know, it's been 6-7-ish ye's of being an opportunist, like waiting for something to happen to me and then responding to it. And what's been so different now is I'm trying to go from accidental entrepreneur to founder of a company with a vision. And that has been surprisingly difficult for me to do. As much as I've learned, as much information as I've gathered, it's been really, really hard to navigate through creating a purposeful vision and then executing it. Now, there are so many things that I could go into here. I wish I could just sit down with you and talk one-on-one about everything and hear about your story too. But to make this as succinct as possible and as helpful as possible, I wanted to talk about the things that have helped me, as hard as it's been, have helped me kind of navigate through that from accidental entrepreneur to purposeful, we'll call it CEO. I don't know if I like the CEO mindset that you hear about, like thinking about your company as something separate from you. I really struggled with that. I like the idea of CEO mindset in that when I think of a CEO, I think of someone who isn't constantly in their business. They're kind of working on it and facilitating growth, and they're kind of there supporting others who are doing jobs within their business. I like the idea of that. I like the title CEO, I guess, but it still feels like a costume I'm putting on versus something that like I actually feel like. As far as like the title, for some reason the title just feels kind of weird for me personally, even though all the ideas around it I'm like on board with mentally. I think I'm there, but the actual title is weird for me. I don't know, I like founder more, but that's probably a whole different discussion. But I wanted to just share some of the things that have helped me at least start to navigate this. Some of them are books, some of them are people, some of them are programs, some of them are just kind of like personal introspective things. And I haven't like predetermined this list. I'm just going to kind of be talking as it comes to me. So we'll see how this goes, and I'll try to be as quick as possible. So one of the things that I'll definitely start with is a person. Her name is Lacey Seitz, and she is I think she considers herself a success coach for business owners. Her background's in therapy, which is why I think I love her so much. She's just one of the smartest people I've ever met, and I don't really follow a lot of people. One thing that I would definitely attribute to kind of being able to navigate this somewhat is that I don't try to learn from everyone. I don't try to learn from anyone, really. If I come across someone who they kind of resonate, or their message resonates with me, then I'll follow along and learn. But I don't think I actively try to learn from other people. This was something that I adopted a few years ago, when I was kind of getting overwhelmed and paralyzed by consuming information and trying to learn when I first started my business, is I had to put some really good boundaries in place and say, no, like, I've got everything I need already. And that was really important because I needed to learn to trust myself more and depend on myself versus like always looking externally for a reason to be able to move forward. So that was like a mindset switch that I had to really make. Like, I've got everything I need. So that is just to say, I don't really follow a lot of people, but Lacey Sites, she's an amazing person and just really smart with business stuff. She's got a Facebook group. I believe it's called the Lit Up, either a Lit Up Life or a Lit Up Entrepreneur. I'm going to leave links to all of this so that you can check all of this stuff out. But one of her kind of like signature framework is, it's a 3-part framework. There's mindset, strategy, and execution. And the way she laid that out really made a lot of sense for me, because she said, most people aren't going to be awesome at all 3 things. Most people are going to be really good at one thing, maybe 2 things, but hardly is anyone ever going to be great at all 3 things. And what I realized is I'm really good at the strategy. I'm pretty good at the mindset. I can work through that kind of stuff. I definitely still have mindset like plateaus and hurdles to get through. But I realized I'm really good at strategy, and I am not good at execution. And the way that she framed it, and it made me feel like, oh, there's not something wrong with me. It's just I have strong points and I can't be awesome at everything. And so that was one of the very initial things that showed me, like, Melanie, you've got to like reset things in your business. You can't just be operating the way you are, which at that point I was a service-based business, solely services. I had created some digital products, but they were just sitting there. I wasn't promoting them. I wasn't getting sales or income. I was just working one-on-one with design clients, and it was overwhelming the shit out of me. My life felt so chaotic that way. And coming across Lacey and her framework and learning more about it made me realize that I am not that great at executing, and design work is nothing but executing. Like, I was just sitting there getting bogged down in someone else's business details and design for their business. And if you're a designer, you know that design is nothing but details. And so that was probably the earliest realization that I was not playing to my strong suits. So I really love Lacey. I'm going to leave a link to her website and her Facebook group, because I think you can learn a lot from her. She's just so smart, and she's got this awesome podcast that she started. It's called Literally, and she is walking you through one-on-one coaching that she's doing with someone for 6 months, and it's kind of to help other coaches, because she works with a lot of coaches. It's kind of to help other coaches see her coaching style and how she like problem solves and how she structures her packages, and give insights into like how she helps her client get breakthroughs. But it's also really important because you're just learning about this person who's starting their business from the ground up. So you're learning a lot about like sales strategy and marketing strategy and psychology and just good like business foundational basics too. So it is so awesome. So Lacey is one really good resource. Another really good resource, I'm gonna share 3 audiobooks actually. One is the Enneagram. That literally is the title of the audiobook. There's like a subtitle to it. I'm going to leave links, but the Enneagram was so helpful in helping me learn about myself and what motivates me. And it was kind of this like realization of who I really was. So if you haven't taken actually let me backtrack. If you're not familiar with the Enneagram, it is kind of a personality test. I admittedly don't know too much about like its history and background, but it's this ancient personality test. From what I could gather, it's really old. It's been used for a really long time. And there are 9 archetypes within the test, or within the Enneagram, and they kind of form this circle. So there's 9 archetypes. and then they all relate to each other in some way. So you can be a main personality type, but then you might have a wing personality type, and I'm not even sure if it has to be next to you. Like, I'm a number 2 on the Enneagram, so I'm not sure if my wing has to be a 1 or a 3, or if it can be something across. I need to do a lot more research. It also talks to you about, like, if I'm a 2, when I am a healthy 2, I exhibit characteristics of a whatever, something across from me on the Enneagram. When I'm in stress or an unhealthy spot, I gravitate towards this other archetype on the Enneagram. It's so in depth and takes into account the ebbs and flows of being a human being, basically. And it's really good to figure out who you are in relationship to other people. It talks about how you view the world and what motivates you. And what's so great about it is you can learn about yourself, but you also learn about the other archetypes and just like in the process of it. And so you start to understand people better. So you understand your clients better. You understand your team members better. You understand your boyfriend better. You understand your kids better. You understand your best friend better, your parents, etc. So it's so great. And what was so revolutionary, I don't know. What was so like eye-opening for me was I got number 2, which is the helper. And the helper, well, it's pretty obvious. They love to help people. But what really got me, how I knew this was so me, is that helping people makes the helper feel purposeful. When I'm not supporting other people, I feel less okay. And that's so important to realize because helpers tend to give, and they never take time for themselves. And I was so guilty of that. I had never, until I was 30 years old, taken time to really figure out how I can wake up for myself. And gosh, I'm like getting emotional about this, but it was so eye-opening for me and so important to discover about myself, because it, like I said, it helped me figure out like my motivators, why I did things, and helped me figure out how I can rewrite my day-to-day so that I can actually feel like I'm thriving versus like being buried by this reality I was creating for myself, basically. Because here's the thing, if you're a helper, if you're number 2, other people are going to receive your help, but here's the other thing, like I am also a high performing person. I have been suicidal before and no one around me even knew, because I am so good at masking it. And that's a whole nother conversation for another day. There's so many things I want to talk to you about with being an entrepreneur and being a creative and dealing with anxiety and depression and a myriad of other mental and behavioral disorders. But the Enneagram was so helpful for me, because it, first of all, it gave me permission to be myself. It gave me something I could really lean into. It also really informed my decision to switch my business model from service-based entrepreneur, working one-on-one with clients, to more of a digital product and course model, because it really plays into my strengths. It allows me to help more people, and it allows me to stay big picture. I'm so good at helping someone else like see the big picture, and then they can kind of sort through their small details. A lot more is going to be accomplished that way, because versus me coming in and doing everything for you. Because I'm going to be playing to my strengths, and we're going to be working with other people who intimately know the details of their business, and they can work on the details. They just need the high level kind of guidance and strategy and picture vision planning for it. I can help with that. And so the Enneagram was really helpful for understanding what my strengths are. It helped me establish better boundaries. It helped me see the need for taking time for myself, and it was amazing to kind of like uncover that and then do something about it. It also just reinforced, here's the thing, I took the Enneagram, I figured out my personality type, and my life got so good in pretty much every area, it all improved except for my design clients. At that point, I was really struggling with like separating myself from design work because I love my clients so much. In design has given me so much. So it was really, really hard for me to figure out how to move forward and feel okay with separating myself from design work and one-on-one design clients. But once I kind of like got really good and healthy in all areas of my life and noticed that with my design clients things still felt really, really chaotic, that's when I knew like this has got to give, because like you deserve to wake up and have a really good day. You deserve to like wake up and be excited about whatever is on your plate. And that wasn't happening for me with work, even though personal life and all of that stuff and my like personal health and wellness and my relationships, those were all getting better. So the Enneagram was really, really insightful for helping me like figure out how to navigate forward. It didn't really give me the answers, but it gave me boundaries and parameters so that I could start closing in on what that vision was. So that was one audiobook. I'll go through these a little bit quicker. The second audiobook is The Big Leap by, I think his name's Gay Hendricks. Mariah Kaz recommended this book to me. I'm inside of her program called The Accelerator. It's for people who want to create course businesses. She recommended this as one of her must reads, and it was amazing. It really helped me establish a new perspective around time and potential. So I really, really loved it, and I got the audiobook, and I loved the author. He's like this awesome grandpa who I didn't really have a grandpa in my life that was like this awesome like paternal figure, but I imagine one who's just like really protective and cozy and like guiding you with his wisdom. That's what this guy reminded me of. So it's really, really awesome. It's all about taking you from good to great, and it's really good for mindset. So I'll end that with that's kind of what it does for you. And it came at a really important time when I was really trying to figure out like personal development and how I could change things internally so that externally my world got better. So the third audiobook that I'll tell you about, it's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, and it is hands down my favorite book that I read last year. And it's all about protecting your time, protecting your energy, establishing what's really, really important to you, and being okay with what's not important to you. It's so great. And I loved that one. Actually, that one wasn't an audiobook. It was a physical copy. My best friend gave it to me. One of her friends she's my friend too, one of our friends who deals with anxiety got the book, and it was really, really helpful for our friend. And so my best friend Bev was like, I'm going to get this for Melanie, and it was so great. I'm trying to make my dad read it right now. There's some crude humor in it. The title, I think, gives that away. Like, he is not a pretty feminine, whimsical, fluffy person, which I really, really like. I try not to swear too much with my business stuff, but I have a potty mouth in real life, so I don't really mind it. I also am like a 12-year-old boy, like crude. I don't like super crude stuff, but it also like doesn't bother me. I'm not gonna get like my panties in a wad about anything. So that'll just be like the preface for that book. Like, if you like my dad, I want him to read it, but my mom, I'm like, there's no way I could recommend this book to my mom. So that'll just be the warning for that. But those three books were really, really important for me: The Enneagram, The Big Leap, and The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Now, I kind of alluded to this with the Enneagram, but something that was really, really, really important for me, just from like another thing I did to kind of help me start figuring out the vision so that I could go from accidental entrepreneur to purposeful CEO. Gosh, I didn't plan this out, but that's like kind of like the transformation, or like the most succinct way to say it is accidental entrepreneur to purposeful CEO. It sounds like I'm like doing a seminar. I'm not trying to, but I just want to like throw the ideas out there in a clear way. But another thing that really, really helped with that was taking time to not work. So if you're starting your business, you might be a workaholic. Outside of the past 3 years, would not consider myself a workaholic. I'm definitely someone that works to live, not lives to work. And what I mean by that is I don't wake up and love working. It's a means to an end. It's a means to help me live the life that I want to live. I hope I said that right. Whereas the past 3 years, I wake up and work consumes me. As a matter of fact, when I tried to step away from work, I didn't know how to not think about work. And this is a process. Like I think it was maybe 6 months ago that I really started this journey of like mentally setting up boundaries and stepping away from work. But even this past weekend, I was like not gonna work. And I was so bored on Saturday. I had no idea what normal people, what do they think about? What do they do when they're not working? And it was really, really hard. I was also just in this weird mood, whatever, it happens. I think that's probably more so the problem. I was just like in this weird mood where I was really, really bored, but there wasn't anything that I wanted to do. And then I also didn't want to be doing nothing. It's probably some of that angst that followed me into my 20s. Now it's just hanging out every once in a while with me in my 30s. But I was so bored this weekend and I didn't know what to do besides work. But I also was so adamant, like, no, Melanie, you're not going to work, because I don't want work to have that kind of hold on me where I want work to fit into this box versus like the box just being open and like shit is spilling out into my life. Like, that's not good for me. I'm not able to function the way that I want to and treat people the way that I want to when I do that. So I need work to just be a box, and I open it up on like very prescribed times, I guess. What was I saying with that? Oh, so here's what kind of helped me is waking up and figuring out anything I could do besides work for a few hours. So what I did was I established this routine. I didn't stick with it because work got busy and I needed to start working more earlier, but I kind of looked at it as a temporary thing, and now I'm kind of shifting back into that structure. But where I wake up and I read the news, because I love reading the news. Not get on Facebook, not get on Instagram, read the news and see what's up in the world. That can also be a little depressing, but like today I just read about Game of Thrones because a really awesome episode happened last night and I wanted to see like what the fan theories were and the reactions were. So I wake up and I read the news. I drank some water. Oh no, I drank some tea, now I'm drinking water. I did some strength yoga. I took a really long time getting ready this morning. I never take more than like 15 minutes to get ready, and I made myself do it. I like, my bathroom's like right behind, well, this door is a hallway and then there's a bathroom, and I kept walking out of the bathroom and seeing my like laptop being open and it was in my inbox, and I was like, there's so many emails I need to check, and I was like, no, I'm gonna take a really long time getting ready and work can wait. And then I took my dog for a walk, and now I'm about to, after this, I'm gonna like fill out some paperwork and take my dog on another little walk because I've got to drop some mail off at one of the little blue boxes down the street. So really, and then I was thinking, what am I going to do? When can I have my next cup of tea? What am I going to make for lunch? And just like thinking about anything I could besides work, and it helps me. It's not perfect. I'm not great at it, but it's been helping me be more focused when I do sit down to work, which is a big, big struggle that I've dealt with and still deal with. It's really, really hard for me to focus on one thing at work and actually get shit done. But this has been helping me, kind of forming a routine forming a routine and then like fitting work into it. That's been really, really helpful for me. This is getting really long, so I just want to share one more resource that is actually like pretty actionable and will really help you gain traction in your business if you need that. The last thing is the Profit Planner Lounge. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't really like to learn from a lot of people, but I stumbled across Haley Burkhead in Profit Planner. That's her company. Well, she's changing the name, I think, to Scalability. But she's all about helping you work less and have more energy and make as much money as you want, basically. And she's got this really awesome community. She's got this really awesome program. She's got this really awesome way of looking at your business and setting up the foundation so that it's kind of your unique game plan. She's all about, like, she's so smart, you guys. The membership is $67 a month. You can make that back. And I think you like sign on for a year. So whatever 67 times 12 is, it's like, we'll say less than $900, maybe less than $800 for a year. And you can make that back like immediately in the first month after implementing her stuff. You could take care of your whole yearly subscription after just implementing what she teaches you in the first week. It's so awesome. She's got an amazing Facebook community, and she makes herself so accessible. I think I've been in the community for 2 months, and I've already been on like 2 one-on-one calls with her, just for like random things that have come up. And the community is really great. There's a Facebook group that you can ask questions and like get support and get ideas generating with other people. It's so great. That's $67 a month. It's called the Profit Planner Lounge, and it has been a game changer for me because while I think I have really good business skills that can be adapted towards business, I am not naturally good at business. I have no clue what I like. As I've progressed, I've had no clue what I'm doing. I'm just figuring it out along the way. And it's so great to have someone else go, you don't have to figure it all out. Like, just follow this. And I think it's so great, especially for new entrepreneurs, because you can avoid a lot of like the mistakes. You can just like you can kind of get started on the right foot. She's got this great thing. As soon as you join, you take this business stage quiz. And I don't remember the 4 stages. It's like build, grow, develop, scale. I probably botched that. But she kind of like says, like, you need to assess where you're at, and then we can go from there toward, like, here are the exact steps to get you from where you're at right now today to wherever you want to go. So that's a no-brainer for anyone who just is like me and is an accidental entrepreneur or needs help with like the business stuff and figuring it out. And when I say business stuff, I mean like setting up your day-to-day. I mean setting up a sales funnel in your business. I mean figuring out how you can have more energy to like love on the people that you're trying to bring to your business and build a community around yourself. It's so awesome. And I've got an affiliate link for the Profit Planner Lounge if you want to. I think it'll lead to like a page where you can get in there's a video explaining more about it and shows you like what's inside of the program, or the community or membership, I don't know, subscription, what comes with your subscription basically. And I would love to see you inside of the community. So if you have any questions about any of this, I'm going to like put a pin in it right now because I know this is getting long. But if there are any questions you have, or if there's anything you want to share about where you're at and where you're trying to go and what you're struggling with, or if there's something else you want to know from me too, will you please either comment or send me a message and let me, if you're watching this on Facebook, come find me on Instagram. I don't check email. I don't check like any messages except for Instagram. But please come find me and let's talk about this, because being an entrepreneur is the absolute hardest thing I've ever done, but it is the most rewarding thing I've ever done. And it has brought, like, I see so much potential in my life, whereas 10, 11 years ago when I was crying to my dad in the car, when I had to pull over my car so I could cry to him, I had no idea what I was doing with my life or how it was gonna how it was going to have any meaning or purpose. And being a business owner has given me that, and I want that for more people. And I know that that is where the job market is going. More and more people are starting their business, and a lot of us are accidental entrepreneurs. A lot of us need help establishing that vision and like understanding the path to get there, to get what we want. And I want that for you. So that's why it was so important for me to share this with you. And I want to talk, the whole point of my business model change, besides just playing to my strengths and having the life that I want, is that I'm trying to help more people. And this is literally my goal, I'm trying to set up my day-to-day so I can just give people shit for free and talk to them. That's all I want. I want to actually talk to more entrepreneurs or people pursuing entrepreneurship so that we can figure this out together. So I'm so serious when I say please reach out to me and please let me know if you have any questions, where you're at, if you have anything specific that you think could help you that I can create for you. I'm so serious. Please, 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 let's talk about it. Okay, that's it. Have a great Monday or whatever day of the week it is when you're watching this, and I'll talk to you soon.